Yeah, here we go, Moors. Make sure you hit like, share, hit the bell so that you are getting notifications when new content is put on here. Everybody like, share, invite people. Let everybody know about this platform. Peace. Oh yeah, Moors. Let's go on and jump on into this, Moors. We're gonna talk about something. I see a lot of Moors talking about this online. They going on and on about this. Moors are talking about what this really means and what's really going on. And there's so much going on in the world. I say, forget having the intro and all this stuff. Let's just jump on into it. This is so important. I see a lot of Moors, think this is real important. So let's go ahead and cover it. Let's let's just jump into it. Let me go ahead and bring this up for you, Morris, so that you can see. Gratitude for following, subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. Everybody, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe. Invite your family and friends to follow this as well. What we have up here, we have Google Maps up here, Morris. You see, there's a lot of Morris talking about how Washington D.C. no longer says D.C. on the map on Google Maps, right? A lot of people going in about this, and they're talking about all types of stuff. You have all these different perspectives. You have, for the most part, everybody saying the corporation is down. The corporation has ended. That's why they had to remove DC off of the map. I don't even know if, like, a month ago or a year ago in the past, if it said Washington D.C. and now it just says Washington. I have no idea. All I know is people are saying that. I mean, you see, it still says District of Columbia here, right? You see that, but you have Moors that are jumping on that and running with it. And they're talking about how the corporation has ended, and I'm not even saying that there's no truth to all that, right? But real quick, I mean, I just want to go on and put this in the proper perspective, man, because you have Moors talking about this, and they're acting like this is some type of accomplishment for us because it no longer says DC on the map, right? It no longer says DC on what map? Where? Because like right now I'm on Google, so it no longer says DC on Google Maps. And what does that mean? What do Moors want? Seriously, like do Moors want a pat on the back? Like, oh yeah, you right, yeah. What do you want? Because it's like, who owns Google? Who owns Google Maps? If they want to put DC back on here, District of Columbia, they can do that. They can do it just like that. Just like that. Just like years ago when well, not years ago. Not years ago. I'm sorry. Months ago. Months ago when Trump was saying, "Hey, we're going to rename it from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America." And then boom, just like that, they changed it to Gulf of America on Google Maps, right? And you even heard some more talking about that. Yes, return to the Republic. Okay? If they want to, when I say they, I'm not talking about some mystical day. All right? you can actually go and see like who are the top shareholders in Google. You may have heard of Larry Page before. John Doerr, Vanguard, BlackRock, FMR, right? They control it at the end of the day. If they want to, that's the day. I'm not saying it's like some mystical day who don't exist, right? If they want to change it and make it say the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of Louisiana, whatever they want to do, they can do it because it's theirs. And it's just, it's just the function of Google, right? And they can change it overnight just like that. That doesn't mean they can't use Gulf of Mexico anymore, right? That doesn't mean that DC, they can't use DC anymore. They can't really. It's just a map. It's Google Maps. It's Google Maps, dude. Google. They can do whatever they want. They can change it. They can put D period, C period right there, just like that. That's not an accomplishment, man. That's nothing to celebrate. Because, like when you really get into it, I want to have a real discussion about this. When you really get into it, you have a whole lot of nothing going on. You have a lot of people, and I'm not even going to say it's the majority of people, but you have some people that aren't really accomplishing anything in their lives. They're not doing anything significant. They're not building anything significant. And so they're holding on to all these little things and things that other people are doing and trying to claim it as some type of victory for themselves. And that's sad, man. That's pitiful because it's like, look, man, in all reality, them taking if that even happened, if they took DC off of here, that means nothing. It doesn't mean that Trump and them can't use Washington, D.C. anymore. All right? It's just what they did on Google. And if they want to put D.C. back on here, they can. And not only that, people who have no power, no influence, like not achieving anything, are trying to claim those little things as some type of victory. All right? And that's not a good thing. Even small victories would be better to discuss and to share and would be more inspirational than claiming crap like this. It's crap. It's pitiful. It's weak. It's insignificant. All right. And then acting like it actually has some type of significance. It's sad. We can't, continue to do things like that and to give praise to stuff like that because people are making videos about this. Oh, they can't use DC anymore. And it's getting thousands of views. So that means you have thousands of people patting these people on the back and agreeing that, oh, yeah, that's because this is ours. It's falling down, right? Meanwhile, how many Moorish American cities are there? Okay, forget cities. Maybe that's aiming too high. How many Moorish American villages or towns are there functioning? Where the Moorish Americans have control of it politically and financially, economically. Where if there's hospitals in there, the Moorish Americans run it. So if you don't want vaccines and all of these medicines that have all of these horrible side effects and all that stuff in there, you want to practice holistic medicine, that's what's being practiced in there. How many of these Moorish American towns and villages where the schools are ran by Moorish Americans? So the curriculum fits the standard for Moorish Americans. How many of those? You already know the answer to that. It's zero. Well, forget that. Okay, let's take it down a notch. How many Moorish Americans? Just neighborhoods where the Moorish Americans control the neighborhood politically and socially and economically, so that the children aren't in danger because they're in a majority Asiatic neighborhood. It's safe. There's no drugs being sold there. There's no liquor stores on every corner. It's safe. It's cool. The school system and everything in the neighborhood reflects the Moorish Americans' principles that live there. It reflects their divine principles, their standards. How many of those do we have? Because that would actually, to me, that would be inspirational to hear about, hey, we have this Moorish American village in the Washington area, right? That would be significant. But holding up something like this, something pitiful like this, and acting like it is because of the Moors, when actually you saw the alphabet company, that's Google, you see who can make those changes overnight if they want to, right? That's who can say, hey, you know what? You know, they support Trump. They want to change the name on Google Maps from Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America because that reflects their values. That reflects what is important to them. Maybe that's why it was changed. Maybe it's not because they can't use Gulf of Mexico anymore, right? Maybe it's time out for playing games and foolishness and silliness and insignificant things that, yeah, you got people. I know there's people who can sound really good, sound like they know what they're talking about, and they can go on and on about all this stuff and go on and on about things that we don't have control over and power over, and they can sit up and act like it's something that we should be proud of. But at the end of the day, if you're entertained by that, if that sounds good to you, if you're looking at that, listening to that, it's just entertainment for you. It's just a game. It's not for real. Because if we're really moving and doing something for real, we're working to, to build up our own neighborhoods, to grow it until we have, towns and cities have, those towns and cities reflect our values. Have it, look like a Moorish American community. So the Moorish American community is not supposed to be in poverty. It is not supposed to be a place where Moorish Americans don't control anything. In the black neighborhood, like many years ago, I used to live in Memphis, Tennessee, and there was this one neighborhood in like the Orange Mound area, and there were little porn stores in there, right? And you'll see European men like in around like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. You'll see men of European descent coming in there with suits and ties on. Some even had like the whole full deck, like with the suit and tie and trench coat and carrying briefcases. They would go in the little porn room. They'll be in there, going there looking at, this is back in the days. I don't even know if they have those anymore where they sell the porn. And they would go there, to do their dirt, right? Whatever they're doing in there, whether they're buying the videos or what, they would go to the so-called black neighborhood to do it. Why? Because they didn't have those stores in their neighborhood. They didn't have them. All right. Also, while they're in the so-called black neighborhood, they can go to the liquor store, get whatever liquor they want and bounce. Right. Why? Because if they did even have a liquor store in their neighborhoods, wine and spirits, they didn't have liquor stores on every corner. Right. And they didn't have the porn stores. So they put it in the so-called black neighborhood so they could come there and do their dirt. And the people that lived there, they're impoverished, and socially, politically, they don't even know how to change it so that things like that aren't coming in their neighborhood without them approving of it, right? So somebody else is controlling that neighborhood. Somebody else is making decisions and saying, okay, yes, all right, yeah, because this stuff is done by design. It's not just a coincidence. There's a liquor store in every corner. It's not a coincidence that the maybe more shameful businesses and stuff like that are open in their neighborhood, even if they're not the ones going in there and using it. Other people from other neighborhoods come in there to do their dirt, right? And I'm only saying this because at the end of the day, our neighborhood shouldn't be like that, right? Because we're Moorish American Muslims. Moorish American Muslims aren't supposed to be sticking their head in the sand pretending that the laws don't apply to them. Oh, we don't have to do. But meanwhile, they don't even have control of their own neighborhood. Right? We're supposed to be politically astute. We're supposed to be on those things, making sure that where we live at, reflects our principles. Right? So we're supposed to be on top of all that stuff. And so we aren't supposed to be celebrating this make-believe pretend stuff. Who cares if Google decides to put DC on here or not? How does that affect you? How does that empower you? Do your children even know about do your children even care about being Moorish American? Do they even know what it means? Do they even care? Are they Muslims? Are they practicing Islam? Is Islam helping them, assisting them? Is Islam there for their earthly and divine salvation? Is Islam keeping them out of trouble? Is, being a Muslim, a Moorish American Muslim, making them excel in, in their education? Whatever they do, education and athletics, whatever they're doing, it's making them more proud. It's making them have a backbone, be able to stand up, not being able to just not wanting to just go and do what everybody else is doing, right? Do they even feel confident in being Moorish American because you've created a community for them where they feel comfortable, where they feel good, where they don't feel like they're out there, looking crazy because they're the only one putting on a fez or a turban, right? Because they're the only one trying to live a clean life. This is what's more important. And you know that. You know that. So you can't be sticking your head in the sand pretending that these real issues don't exist and getting caught up in the fantasy and stuff that people are talking about. Like I said, man, there's people who can talk about this stuff and sound good and sound like they know what they're talking about. But who are these people? These people that are talking, that are online and stuff, they have all these followers and stuff. Do their children even know that they're Moors? Do their children even, are their children Moorish American Muslims? Do they practice this? You have people who are talking and trying to teach you and tell everybody else stuff, and they don't even have their household in order, right? And it's not important to them because no matter what, like, it should be of the utmost importance to get this to your own children. And that goes for everyone. Like, whether you're some type of leader or you're just an online influencer, whatever. It should be more important to you to get this to your children than anything else. If it's not important to you, then what are you? Are you a fake person, a fake human? You don't even, because if this is really like, in the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, let me pull this up real quick. It says we were returning to Islam for our earthly and divine salvation. So if this is for your earthly and divine salvation, why aren't you trying to get it to the people, who are your responsibility? The people that you created. If that's not important to you, I don't know what to say. You're not a real human. You're not a real person. Right? So that should be important to you, to get this to your own family. Forget everything else. Right? Forget what everyone's talking about. Even if your celebration or you're proud of or what you're trying to share with people is, hey, you're there with your children and you're showing them how to pray. You're teaching them from the Quran. You're teaching them some lessons and they understand it. They get it. Maybe even they're teaching. They're teaching other children. Or they're sharing with you what they understand from their understanding, right? Maybe you're going over the keys with them and they're sharing with you how it makes sense, like from their perspective. That, to me, is more important than somebody talking about how, the corporation is falling and that's why they can't put DC on there. I'm only saying this because there's like people right now putting videos up about this mess and like, getting thousands of views and talking about it like it's really important and like it really matters. And that's only more confusion, more foolishness, more silliness. Where's the Moorish American schools? Where's the Moorish? I'm not saying there's no Moorish American schools, but where are they? Where are these villages, these towns, right? And eventually these cities, right? Where we have control socially and politically and economically, right? Where it's, Moorish Americans have things set up how we desire, how it needs to be. Where we have control. That's more important, man. So yeah, you have Moors out there who want to pretend all that stuff's already done. You have Moors calling themselves Sultan, calling themselves Wazir, and all these other names, and they're claiming all of this stuff. And like, okay, cool, you got your Moorish American towns, right? Your villages, you got all that stuff, right? You got it on lock, right? Because if you don't, you got it on pretend. Some of these people that's claiming this stuff, claiming these titles and stuff, they don't even have their own household in order. They don't even have the people that live in their house on board with them, which means it's fantasy. There's people that already do that put on fez every now and then and go meet in secret and then go about their life, right? Their whole family ain't there with them because it's like, pretend. We're not supposed to be like that. This is supposed to be for real. This is supposed to be your life. This is supposed to be for the entire family. These are the things that really matter the most. That people are actually using these lessons to improve their own lives. Remember, Moors, because this is the real litmus test for us as Moorish Americans. If we're Moorish American Muslims, we understand that the family, the family structure, all of that is so important. It is in our divine constitution and bylaws. It's in our Quran, right? We see Act 7 and we see the titles that we are given, right? I'm not just talking about that when how when you follow those instructions, you're entitled to the name of faithful. I'm talking about husband. It doesn't say man. It says husband, you must support your wife and children. It says wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children, look after the duties of your household. And then it says sons and daughters must obey who? Father and mother, and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. It doesn't say, sons and daughters, you must obey your mama. You live with her. That's the only one you got to listen to. No, it says obey father and mother and then become industrious. It doesn't say just go out there and cause havoc, cause terror in the community, right? Become industrious. Become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. So, we must stop being baby mamas and baby daddies. We have to become husbands and wives. We have to take care of our children, right? We have to take care of our household. We have to raise these children so that they can become industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. Meaning, if the uplifting of fallen humanity is their duty, that means they become Moorish American Muslims too. The children can't just be out here. That's another thing, Moors. If this is real for you at all, it should be of the utmost importance that you get this to your children for their earthly and divine salvation. It should be of the utmost importance to you. Going back to the Quran, you see chapter 20, we have the holy instructions and warnings for all young men. You have marriage instructions for man and wife. You have the duty of a husband. You have the holy instructions for the children, the obedience of the children towards the father. You have all these instructions aimed at building and empowering that family structure. So the Moors that are leaving this out, the Moors that want to talk about, all of this other stuff, talking about all this stuff from history and all these things that you personally, that you can listen to for hours and you can still be failing at life. It's not helping you. You might think it's making you smarter, but smarter at what? A bunch of stuff that's impractical that you can't use to improve your life. So that means if you're listening to it, you'll be better off listening to some self-help stuff from somebody of European descent or whatever. Because that stuff's going to help you better than it will listening to some Moors talking about, we're not black, we Moors. And just going on and on about all this stuff that's impractical, man. It's about improving yourself. It's about being a Muslim for real. A Muslim is disciplined, right? We're not just going for everything. And then it's about getting this to your family so that now they're empowered. Now they can be out here in the world, right? But guess what? They're not influenced by the world, right? So if you're really returning to Islam for your earthly and divine salvation, it should be of the utmost importance that you bring this to your children for their earthly and divine salvation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It has to be brought to them. They have to get it. You can't do it any other way, right? Because you're for real. And then all the other stuff, the foolishness that people's talking about, it's like, man, y'all can kick rocks with that. I'm not here for your entertainment. So like with Moors in America, I'm not going to entertain that stuff. I'm not going to have people on here so they can talk about this stuff and it has no practical use. And it just gives people more excuses to keep failing at life. We're failing if we're not teaching this to our children. Point blank, period, simple. I don't care what your situation is. If you can't teach this to your children, you're failing. All right? Why? Because that means that the next generation that was created by you didn't even get it. Where they at? What, they just got to figure it all out just like you did? Like, what's the point then? You're supposed to give it to them. You're supposed to show it to them in your works, deeds, and actions. Ideally, have them in the household with you. It's so sad when you're talking to Moors, to men, and they all have the same excuse, like, man, I can't get custody of my children. Why? European does it. The Vietnamese does it. Everyone else does it. The other ones at least consider it. At least think about, hey, maybe we should split the custody. Everybody else thinks about that, but we just accept, oh, they go with the mama. Man, that's sad, man. That's pitiful. It's a bad situation because, there's no excuse, Morris. There really isn't. We have to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more disciplined, and take this a little bit more seriously, right? And I'm not talking about, people that have something going on with the mom. She took the child or something like, but maybe you need to fight for them. Maybe you need to say, man, you know what? I'm going to be in this child's life no matter what. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you lose them, what does it become? Is it now somebody else's burden? Is it now society's burden? How is there a nation if we're not raising the children and teaching this to them and raising them as Moorish American Muslims, and then they become Moorish American Muslims, and it's serious for them because they grew up with it? How is there a nation if we're not doing that? Where's this nation going to come from? Right? So it's, just getting back to that. That stuff is way more important than, anything else that the majority of people are out there talking about. Right? It really is. Just getting down to the basics. When you look at, this is why, it may turn some people off, but when you get to what's in the Quran, what's in our instructions from our prophet, it's dealing with the practical. It's teaching you how to work on yourself, to unfold the creator within you, which, may turn a lot of people off because they're not trying to work on themselves, but it has to be done. If you're not doing that work, you're not doing anything. Nothing's going to change. So it's working on yourself, and then it's giving instructions. This is just a brief rundown of the Holy Quran. Then it's giving the practical instructions on how to build up our household, right? The families. Moorish American Muslims are supposed to be different from everyone else. Different, not, like we're aliens or look crazy or something, just different from how society is, and especially in Western civilization. If you live in North, South, Central America, where you have the increasing broken households, right? We're supposed to look different, right? Moorish American man, you're not supposed to be out there trying to run through all the women, just dropping babies off. You're supposed to get married and raise your child as a Moorish American Muslim. That should be of the utmost importance of you, because you have the duty of a husband is to take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. He didn't say knock up a woman and just, child's going to be with her because she get custody, because that's just what Moorish American men do. No, that's what I guess Negro, black, and colored men do. They don't have, standards. It says, take unto thyself a wife and become a faithful member of society. Not because, hey, I'm trying to encourage you to get a wife that's going to make you miserable. No, it's because, dude, if you're going to be just dropping children off, left and right, and you're not going to be in that child's life, you're not going to maybe even get custody of that child and make sure that child is growing up as a Moorish American Muslim, that's a problem. And if you're not going to do those things, you're not helping to build a nation. You're continuing the situation that we're already in. So we have instructions on how to build these families. You're not building a Moorish American family if your children don't live with you, or at least you're spending so much time with them that even though they don't live with you, they're still learning. They still know, hey, this Moorish American thing, this is who I am. There's no other way. Right? And so Moorish American men and women, and mainly men, because we're the head of the household, we can't have these excuses, man, how I'm going to get her on board, how I'm going to do it. No, who cares, dude? Be a man and figure it out. You're the leader. Everybody's different. You have to approach every situation different. Figure it out. You did it. You do it. It's not on me to figure out your household, right? So we all figure it out and make it work. And then we're giving instructions as a community, right? how to build these communities up, how to run our communities on divine standards. You know, to build ourselves up, then the community, we're given instructions, holy instructions on how to develop our higher virtues, to subdue the lower self. And then we're given a full understanding of the virtues or the characteristics of the lower self so that we can recognize it, so that we can subdue it and be greater. Right? Then the prophet gives us, you know, an understanding on, you know, how Christianity was created, why it isn't really for us. And then our hidden history, our origin, right? Who we are as Moorish American Muslims. Even the fact that we've been in the Americas before colonization took place. And how old we are, before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. So going back in time. So we're given a full, well-rounded picture and understanding on how to pick ourselves up and be greater. And if Moors aren't doing this, you know, really understanding this and personalizing this, then this is why Moors aren't succeeding. And this isn't to say that all Moors are succeeding, because that's not true. This is just saying, man, you can only give this foolishness that people are talking about. I mean, if you ask me, you can't even give it, you know, any light. But if you're entertained by that stuff, you really should think about that. Why am I entertained by this unproductive foolishness? Right? You can't give it that much light, man. Not at all. Right? Because that's really all it is entertainment. To keep people content. Like, if we don't have those Moorish American schools on lock, we don't have the Moorish American hospitals or wellness centers or whatever we want to do on lock, we're not producing our own food for ourselves that don't have chemicals and all these things in it. We're not beginning to secure our own communities. We ain't doing nothing. It's just talk. It's all just talk. And we're still dependent on others to do it. Right? Dependent on others. And that's not the way we should be. Right? That's not the way anybody should be. But there's a lot of people in America that's like that. Dependent on the government, and the government should do this for us. And we should not, because we recognize the corruption and we know who we truly are. We know that nobody is going to make it greater. We know that the task of uplifting fallen humanity is on us. It's not on anyone else. So that means we aren't supposed to be expecting anyone else to do anything greater. We know that the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. So why would we be expecting anyone else to do what's right and to make America great again, or whatever people are saying? We can't expect anyone else to do it. No one's going to do it for us. All right. Even the things that would benefit us, they're being done because there's some carrot dangling in the face of the other people who are making it happen. It's not because they're really trying to make things greater for us. They see something in it for them, right? And so then we can't be mad when they do things that work against us. We have to take control of our own destiny. And so just sharing that, because, like, man, I don't want to hear anything about some fantasy foolishness. That's why they're doing this, because it's falling, all that stuff, man. Gone somewhere with that mess, man. That don't mean nothing to me. It means nothing to me at all. Shouldn't really mean anything to anyone else that's being productive, that's actually serious-minded, right? And I just don't want to take up much more of your time. Just wanted to speak on that. I'm going to end on this. I did put out a book recently. It's called Unlocking the Keys. Pretty much going into the Quran keys from the Quran questionnaire, breaking them down, giving you practical usage for it. Practical, meaning you can use this in your everyday life. And also, you know, from a spiritual, metaphysical perspective, but still giving you practical instructions for, hey, take this and use this to better yourself. And so on that note, Moors, the book is now out. It's on Amazon, but also the Moors in America website right now at this minute is getting worked on. So if you see this video right now, you can order that book from me and I will autograph it for you. And you can just send a Cash App to $Moorish in America. You can send Cash App to $ Moors in America or $L Douglas L, and I will ship that book out to you. The book itself is only $23 with shipping. If you are in the continental U.S., shipping is $32. If you're overseas, please send a message or comment, and we'll figure out shipping for you personally. But yeah, later on though, if you watch this video, I say like after July, the website should be done. You just purchase it on moorisinamerica.com. Of course, it's on Amazon as well. You can also get the digital ebook copy of that. And on that note, like I said, I'm not gonna take up a whole bunch of time. We're out of here, but this is where we stand, you know, with the foolishness, man. I don't care about none of that stuff. I ain't impressed by stuff. People should stop claiming, trying to take some kind of victory off of stuff we had no part in. All right, you want to pretend that we have part in this? These people will put DC on here tomorrow if they feel like it. They're not going to do it because they don't care what the Moors are talking about. Because guess what? It don't affect them, no matter what you say. All right? So on that note, up out of here. Peace and love. Make sure you like, share this video.
A powerful guide to Moorish identity, divine law, and self-mastery. Praised by sheiks and scholars alike, and Moors across the nation are calling it a must-read. Grab your signed copy now at moorisinamerica.com for just $23. Or get the paperback on Amazon, also $23. Prefer digital? The Kindle version is only $3.99.
Quality handmade fezes. Crafted fez with the finest wool, complete with tassel and leather sweatband. Wear the national headdress of Moorish Americans with pride and respect. 3XL size fez is a comfortable fit for brothers with dreadlocks. Shipping worldwide. Go to moorishfez.com to order.
Don't let your history start at slavery. Join with Moorish Science Temple, a lawfully chartered Islamic organization, and proclaim your nationality while helping us uplift fallen humanity. Founded by American prophet Noble Drew Ali and consistently promoted plans for the betterment of humankind. We are located in Columbus, Ohio. Visit our website www.moorishamericans.com and follow us on social media. We hold live meetings on Zoom every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us a call at 614-407-4394 if you would like to join or send donations to help us uplift fallen humanity. CareMore is a non-profit organization focused on providing goods and services to families and individuals in our underfunded communities in Central Ohio. We have created an online presence to reach members of our Central Ohio communities, as well as local events and meetings to give away supplies and donations throughout the city all year long. Visit our website to learn more and to send a donation.
Every day, billions of searches are conducted online, therefore it is critical that your company stands out to the small percentage of clients who are essential to your business. Our team of local digital marketing consultants and SEO experts is eager to help your company achieve its goals through a consultative approach, top Google rankings, and collaboration with industry experts. Here at Adept Marketing Solutions, we stand for integrity, dedication, ingenuity, and results. We know how to navigate the ever-changing digital landscape and what brands must do to succeed. Visit our website to see what we can do to help you reach your goals.